Hey guys, Channel OP here. I'm Nico,
And I'm King.
and we're the Opinionated Pirates. And today we got another One Hit Manga segment, and this book I was actually turned on from King, so why don't you take it away?
So, this book is Delicious in Dungeon, D&D.
D&D.
Basically, it's your premise of D&D where you have a party of warriors and fighters and everything going into a dungeon, kill the dragon, and rescue the world. But what makes this one different than most is that, yes, the food.
The delicious food.
The whole premise of the book is that one of the characters' sister, while they're in a raid against a dragon, they got completely wiped. The dragon ate the sister, and they want to go back and rescue her, but they don't have time or funds to even get supplies. So they realize that they're just going to go in, kill some monsters, maybe make them into food since they usually get eaten by monsters. So let's try it back. So they go in there and they meet another guy who also specializes in cooking monsters in delicious ways. And they just keep going, trying to rescue the sister. Every floor, different monsters. And it's pretty unique, especially as a fan of D&D. As you go through, you never really think about cooking the monsters, what they would taste like. And this one, it really goes into depth. It's kind of a mix of Goblin Slayer meets Food Wars, but also in a comedy sense, not a serious sense that either one of those has.
Yeah, I'll say, I enjoyed it. Like I said, and you see the cover, I'm like, I wonder how they'll incorporate this. But yeah, it's like you said, it's like the main guy, his sister got eaten. It's kind of his idea. He's the one like, oh, well, we can see monsters, and his other two party members are like, what? And he's like, yeah. So just a context, I think it's Leos is the main guy. And then his mage is he's the knight. His mage Marcelli, Chichik, their like trap remover guy, and then a dwarf named Senshi.
Yeah.
And the dwarf comes in later on, because the knight, he's the one that wants to eat, and they're like, oh, you can't do that, and they actually go to cook something, and then that's when they run into the dwarf. The dwarf's like, hey, what are you doing? You shouldn't cook that like that. You gotta do it like this and like this, and you know, it's just funny. The mage is the one that's like so against eating these monsters,
but she can't say no, especially whenever she tries it.
Because like everything they make is so good. Like what was like a scorpion and walking mushroom hot pot?
Yeah.
And it even puts the ingredients that they use. Like, okay, you can do this at home. It's like, I mean, I'm not gonna eat a scorpion, man. You wouldn't eat a scorpion. That's cool. You know, I'm not doing that.
I mean, this book kind of made me want to. Like, if there was a giant scorpion about 6 feet tall and it was dead, I may try to turn into a hot pot.
Yeah, and I'm like, as you said, like it knows what it is. Like, yeah, it has that D&D aesthetic, but like, if people die, like they can be resurrected as long as they're not like digested or beyond saving. That's why finding his sister is so important.
Yeah, they're trying to get her before she turns into poop.
Yeah. They even asked that, like, oh, hey, can people be resurrected from poop? They're like, oh, I don't know. I haven't heard of that. They're like, oh, well, we better hurry.
Yeah.
So it does take the non-serious route. It goes more that comedic route with things. Yeah, there's a life-threatening thing or situations, but again, that's not its focus. Its focus is the food and then finding how to cook these. And they're pretty in-depth with it, which I really like. What was it? They say, like, or was it the Mandrakes? It's like, oh yeah, like if you cut off its head when it screams and it takes away from the taste or something like that.
Yeah, and then you have to cut it a certain way too. And the whole guy, since he's the dwarf, since he's been doing it, he'll be constantly telling him, it's like, no, you gotta try it like this because this is how you get the most out of the flavors. And it's like an experienced chef who's just like trying to teach newbies how to cook.
Yeah, so I guess that's where you see like the bonding come from. Like, yeah, these you know, the original three knew each other, and this dwarf's kind of like the new person, and he finds it like, oh, hey, you're going to kill this dragon. You know, I've always wanted to make steak or something out of that dragon's meat, so can I come too? And they're like, yeah, go ahead and come along. But it's cool to see how they kind of use this as not just bonding, but that learning. The learning is what's bringing them closer together. You actually have the little story, the little character development at the end when he goes with the living armor.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool how it wasn't magic. It was just a mollusk.
Yeah. There's just a whole bunch of like just mollusks in there that just form this living armor, and then they just become a hive to protect themselves.
Yeah, so it was kind of cool to see how they did their like they put a little twist on it, and it was kind of gross at the same time. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god. Um, but yeah, I really enjoyed this book, and again, I know you're the one that turned me on to it.
Yeah, it's like I'm a fan of D&D and I'm also a fan of food, and when I saw it I was like, oh, this is a perfect combination of what I like. Let me go and give it a shot. And it was such a good refresher from coming into books like Goblin Slayer, like some of the other series books we have. And then I have one that's just, you can turn your brain off, just enjoy it. It's fun times.
Yeah, like it's not, as we said, like what we told you how the story is, like that's the premise. Like that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it is one of those you go in like you're just going in there for to have a good time with it. I said there was some character development there, which I honestly I didn't really expect from what it was doing. Yeah, like I said, from King to Yuri Goblin Slayer, I like my Ajin, Berserk, so it's definitely a change of pace, and it's nice. Like it's a book you can kind of get lost in, nothing super serious, and I mean I guess you could try the food out with I mean you won't use basilisk eggs.
Substitutes.
Yeah, but I think probably what is it? The living armor probably had to be my favorite dish so far because they did like 3 different dishes with them. Like there was like a casserole, like they just grilled the mollusk, and then like some kind of stir fry. It's kind of cool seeing how they put it all together.
Mm-hmm. For me, it was the basilisk dishes that came out. It was like they cooked the egg, they did a whole like mother, or what was, I think they called it the mother child dish, where they had the egg and then the basilisk in there. And I also like how the basilisk was just a giant chicken with a snake tail.
Yeah, and even said that the snake is the actual head.
Yeah,
it's not the chicken. The chicken's the tail. And I was like, what is this nonsense? I love it.
It's like I liked how everything looked forward and what they ended up doing.
Yeah, and it was neat how, I guess probably my favorite part was how they tied the cooking into the actual help in slaying the beasts themselves. Mm-hmm. Like they have one part where like someone gets covered, one of the mage gets covered in a slime in her head, on her face. She has a flashback to like, oh hey, I remember the first time I died was by a slime. And the dwarf comes up and just cuts it and kills it. And they're like, how did you do that? It's a slime. And he's like, oh, well, they actually have a system of organs. And he goes and explains, like, the organ system within the slime. Mm-hmm. And I guess, from his perspective, like, you wouldn't know it unless you actually cooked and ate the monster. And then same thing with the mushroom. It's like, oh, you have to cut it. When he went to go cook it, he was like, oh, if I cut it this way, it actually cuts easier than this way. So I like how they'll be able to grow just not like in cooking, but it seems like it'll help make them grow as being
better adventurers.
Yeah, like it'll help them get them further in the dungeon, and hey, when I actually fight the dragon, it probably help them in their knowledge of how they need to kill it. Mm-hmm. Especially with the little development they did with Leos at the end. I like to see what kind of mores in this past are kind of hidden. Marcelli, same her, she's like the upbeat one. Mm-hmm. I like to see how her personality might change now that she's eating these stuff. And then obviously the dwarf is just all about eating and wants to eat.
Like how even with the rogue, when he had his like moments to shine, his little areas were pretty good.
Yeah, and like that character action when he was showing the dwarf how to use like the trap systems and able to help cooking. It was a little wholesome moment, mm-hmm. and I liked it. So that's what I would like to. I'm interested in that for these next few volumes. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens.
Same.
So yeah, I mean, hopefully we can get ahead of those pretty soon. I like to see them. So with that, thank you again, guys, for joining us in our video. Listen to our quick discussion about Delicious Dungeon. If you checked it out, let us know what you think down below, whether you liked it or not. If you tried any of the dishes with, what we can actually cook here in, real world, not basilisk eggs and walking mushrooms and mandrakes.
I mean, if they got the ingredients, send pictures.
Yeah.
I would see dishes.
I would love to see some of the stuff that gets made. But if you want to join the official OP crew, then hit that subscribe button down below. Let you know when we're putting out videos. If you want to know at the exact moment we put out those awesome videos, then hit that red notification bell at the top. And if you like the video, then hit that like. We always appreciate it. So with that, I'm Nico,
And I'm King.
and we're the Opinionated Pirates, sailing off.